When my business took off, my husband's family demanded, "You owe us a monthly allowance. We helped raise your husband." My husband shrugged. "They're right, you know." I nodded and said, "Then you won't mind reading this contract." Their smiles vanished as they realized what I had done. I never thought success would bring such chaos into my life. After years of hard work, my business finally took off, and I was enjoying the rewards. But this success uncovered tensions I hadn't expected, especially with my husband's family. I'm Sarah, married to David for over 10 years. We live in Austin, Texas, a city full of culture and entrepreneurial energy. Our relationship had its ups and downs, but we always found common ground. David's family, originally from a small town in Oklahoma, is close-knit and traditional. They often talked about the sacrifices they made to support David. When I started my online retail business specializing in eco-friendly products, David was supportive, but not very involved. He had his own marketing career, and we balanced our professional lives. As my business grew and became more profitable, I was thrilled, thinking our combined incomes would secure a comfortable future. However, during a family gathering at our home, David's parents and siblings approached me with a surprising proposition. "Sarah," his mother began, her tone sweet but firm, "we've been talking about how much we've contributed to David's upbringing. Now that you're doing so well, we think it's only fair that you provide us with a monthly allowance as a token of appreciation." I was shocked. "An allowance? I'm not sure I understand." His father added, "We sacrificed a lot to get David where he is today. It's only right that we see some benefit now that you're both successful." I turned to David, expecting him to dismiss the idea. Instead, he shrugged. "They have a point, Sarah. They did a lot for me." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The room felt tense, and I needed a moment to think. Taking a deep breath, I nodded slowly. "All right. If that's how you all feel, I have something I'd like to share." I left the room briefly and returned with a folder containing a document I'd prepared earlier. Handing it to David, I said, "This is a contract outlining the financial boundaries and responsibilities within our marriage." David's brow furrowed as he skimmed through the pages. His family's expressions shifted from smug satisfaction to confusion and concern. "What is this?" David asked, his voice tinged with irritation. "It's a postnuptial agreement," I replied calmly. "Given the current circumstances, I think it's prudent to have clear terms regarding our finances, especially concerning external family obligations." His mother interjected, "Are you trying to cut us off?" I met her gaze steadily. "I'm ensuring that our marriage isn't subjected to undue external pressures. David and I need to prioritize our household and future." David's face flushed with anger. "I can't believe you'd do this, Sarah. It's like you don't trust me or my family." I sighed, feeling the weight of the moment. Trust isn't the issue here. Boundaries are. I've worked hard for my success, and while I respect and appreciate what your family has done for you, it's not fair to impose financial expectations on me because of that. The room fell into an uncomfortable silence. David's family exchanged glances, realizing that their plan had backfired. They mumbled their goodbyes and left shortly after, leaving David and me to confront the chasm that had opened between us. That night, we had a long, heated discussion. David felt betrayed by my actions, while I felt cornered by his family's demands and his agreement with them. We decided to seek counseling to navigate this impasse, but the incident left a lasting mark on our relationship. So after that night, things between David and me were tense. We went to therapy like we agreed, but honestly, he wasn't really trying. He kept saying, "You embarrassed me in front of my family," and not once did he ask me how I felt when I was ambushed in my own home. It only got worse. 3 weeks later, I started noticing some weird changes. David was coming home later than usual. At first, he said he was staying late at work. I believed him. I mean, he'd always been a decent guy. But then, one night, I saw a bank alert on my phone. A $3,000 withdrawal from our joint account. No explanation. I asked him about it the next day, and he said, "Oh, I gave it to my brother. He needed help with rent." I couldn't believe it, without even talking to me first. His answer? "It's my family, Sarah. They've always been there for me. I was livid. And I haven't been? I built this business from the ground up. You can't just hand over thousands of dollars from our account without asking. He got quiet. Real quiet. Then he hit me with, maybe we should separate our finances. You clearly don't trust me. That hit me like a truck. Not because separating finances was a bad idea, it was probably smart at this point, but because he said it like I was the one who had crossed a line. And then came the twist I never saw coming. A few days after that fight, his sister, let's call her Tara, messaged me on Facebook. I wasn't close to her, so I was surprised. Her message? Just so you know, David's been talking to his ex again. They met up last weekend. I didn't want to be involved, but you deserve to know. I felt the floor drop beneath me. I stared at that message for what felt like hours. Then I looked at the transaction from that weekend, $4.50 at a luxury restaurant in downtown Austin. He said it was a client dinner. I didn't say anything right away. I kept quiet and watched. I checked his phone when he left it on the counter while showering. I know some people will judge me for that, but I don't care. I had to know. And there it was. Messages with his ex. Not just casual catch-ups either. He was telling her he missed her. That things between us were rocky and that he was keeping his options open. I felt like someone punched me in the chest. But I didn't confront him right away. I needed a plan. I went to my lawyer. The same one who helped me draft the postnup. I told him everything. We updated the agreement. Locked down the business. Froze joint accounts. I opened new ones in my name only. I moved half our savings, my half, to a secure account. Then I waited. The next week, his family invited us to a family dinner. You know, to clear the air. I went, smiled, played the part. David looked smug. His mom even said, I knew you'd come around. Family takes care of family, right? I smiled and said, of course. Then I turned to David and pulled out a manila envelope. Actually, I brought something for you to read tonight. He opened it. Read the new agreement. It included full financial separation, an immediate freeze on shared assets, a clause that said any funds taken without consent would be considered theft, and a notice that I was moving forward with divorce proceedings due to emotional infidelity and financial deception. David's face turned white. His mother gasped. Sarah, what is this? I looked at her, calm and cold. You wanted an allowance for raising your son. I think I've paid enough. David tried to argue. Tried to say it was a mistake, that nothing happened with his ex. I didn't flinch. Save it. I saw the messages. His father muttered, this is going too far. I turned to him too. No. What went too far was thinking I owed you anything for what you chose to do 25 years ago. And I left. Now I'm staying in a short-term rental downtown while everything gets sorted. My lawyer is a beast. The house? It's in my name. The business? Also mine. David's going to have to answer for a lot very soon. But here's the thing, something else happened last night. Something that made this whole thing even more twisted. So, yeah. I left the dinner like a storm had just passed through. I could still hear David's mom shouting my name as I got in my car. I didn't look back. I wasn't going to be manipulated anymore. But just when I thought I had the upper hand, things got messy. 2 days after that dinner, I got a notice in the mail from the IRS. A random audit. At first, I thought it was just bad luck. But then something started to feel off. The audit was specifically about the early years of my business, when I was just starting out and handling most of the paperwork myself. It was a weird coincidence, especially since I'd only just locked David out of the finances. I called my accountant. He looked into it and found something that made my stomach turn. Sarah, someone reported irregular income in your name, anonymously. I didn't even need to ask who it was. I just knew. See, David never helped with the business, but he knew enough about the early days. He knew where I made mistakes. Hell, I'd even vented to him late at night about how messy my first year's taxes were. And now, right when he's about to lose everything, the IRS gets tipped off. I told my lawyer, and he wasn't shocked. It happens more than you think during divorces, he said. Revenge moves. We started building a paper trail. Every message, every bank statement, Even that dinner where I handed David the documents, I had it recorded on my phone. Just in case. But it didn't stop there. About a week later, I started getting one-star reviews on my business page. All from fake profiles. Comments like, "Scammer, rude owner, don't trust her." I reported them, of course, but they kept coming. Nonstop for days. I lost 2 brand deals because of the sudden drop in ratings. Again, I knew who was behind it. So I dug deeper. And then came the biggest twist yet. I found out David had been applying for business loans in my name. I only caught it because one of the banks reached out to verify additional information on my new application, which I hadn't submitted. They sent me the paperwork. His name wasn't on it, but all the information? My name, my address, my old tax ID numbers, he had them all. My hands were shaking when I read it. This wasn't just petty anymore. This was criminal. He was trying to tank me, to ruin my name, and probably walk away with whatever he could if things went south. I forwarded everything to my lawyer. We're now talking fraud, identity theft, and defamation. And guess what? The icing on the cake? David's ex, the one he was messaging? She messaged me. Yep. She slid into my DMs and said, "You don't know me, but I think you should know what David's been saying about you." Apparently, David told her I was controlling, that I was trying to cut him off financially, and that he built the business with me, but I kicked him out. She sent me screenshots. Full conversations. He even called me a gold digger. Let that sink in, me, the one who built the business, who paid for everything. I'm the gold digger? But here's where it gets wild. She told me she didn't believe him. She said the way he talked about money and needing access to his share felt off. So she Googled me, found my business site, read my story, saw the truth. She apologized. She didn't owe me anything, but she said she felt gross for even talking to him. I thanked her. Honestly, she gave me the last puzzle piece I needed. Now, my lawyer's preparing charges. Identity theft. Fraud. And if he pushed that IRS tip, that's another legal mess for him. I'm documenting everything. Every step, every lie, every transfer. David thought he was smarter than me. He underestimated the one person who actually built something from scratch. He's about to find out what happens when you try to destroy someone who has receipts. And trust me, I've got plenty. So after getting that last message from his ex, let's call her Amy, I had every piece of the puzzle in front of me. The fake loan apps, the IRS tip, the review bombing, the emotional cheating. And now I had proof that he was lying to someone he was trying to reel back into his life while smearing my name. It was time. I didn't confront him in person. I wanted everything in writing. I wanted proof. So I sent him an email. Subject: let's set the record straight. I listed out everything I knew. Every receipt. Every transaction. Every lie. And then I hit him with the warning: if you don't back off, stop the review bombing, and pull every fraudulent loan application by the end of the week, I'm filing charges. He replied 3 hours later. All caps. Full meltdown. How dare you spy on me? You're making a mistake. You'll regret this. That email went straight to my lawyer. 3 days later, we filed. Fraud. Identity theft. Defamation. Harassment. And we sent everything to the banks too. The IRS. Even the Better Business Bureau, to show the attacks on my business were part of a targeted smear campaign. And then I did something even colder. I posted my side of the story. Not the full legal details, just enough. On my business page. On my social accounts. A simple, calm post that explained that I was under attack from someone close to me. That legal action was underway. That my business was built from the ground up, with no help from the person trying to take it down. And that I'd keep standing. The public response? Overwhelming. People rallied behind me. The fake reviews got drowned out. Clients I thought I'd lost came back. Some even shared the post themselves. And then came the fallout. David was arrested 2 weeks later. Turns out, one of the loan apps he submitted had crossed a line. He'd used a forged signature, mine. They charged him. Not just that, Amy, his ex, ended up reporting him too. Apparently, he had tried to borrow money from her using a story about how I was stealing everything he worked for. When she learned the truth, she flipped. David's job fired him. His reputation in marketing? Gone. And his family? Oh, they came crawling back to me. His mom called, crying. We didn't know it was that serious. We never wanted this. I told her, very calmly, you didn't want the truth. You wanted a paycheck. And then I blocked her. But here's the part that might surprise you. The mistake I made? I let things slide for too long. I let myself believe that loyalty was enough. That someone's family wouldn't turn on you if you were kind. That love without respect was still love. It wasn't. And for that, I paid. Emotionally, financially, mentally. But I got smarter. I got stronger. And I won. David's facing charges now. His reputation is shot. He'll probably never work in the industry again. And the judge froze his access to any of our shared property. Everything is on legal lockdown. And me? I'm rebuilding. My business is stable again. My head is clear. I sleep better now. But I don't forgive. Because forgiveness is earned. And none of them earned it. They tried to tear me down. And I stood taller. So no, this isn't just a story about revenge. It's a story about truth, about drawing the line when everyone else tries to cross it. And if you're ever in a situation like mine, don't wait. Because the longer you protect people who'd throw you to the wolves, the closer you get to becoming prey. Not me. Not anymore.